homes and perfectly organized systems may bring temporary satisfaction, but they don't bring everlasting peace to our souls. Only Jesus can. Philippians 4:6-7 reminds us, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." As a Christian homemaker, this scripture is a gift to me. It reminds me and encourages me to approach our Heavenly Father with my anxiety over my to-do list, to ask for strength and patience with my children, and to trust in His wisdom, not my own, as I manage my home to my best God-given ability. Today's video is going to be a raw and realistic attempt at a home reset with 2 young children in a small 2-bedroom apartment. You'll get an unfiltered look at my life as I try my best effort to catch up on tasks around the home. It will be like talking through a day with a friend. This is the perfect time to prepare a load of laundry, get your hands ready to wash dishes, or get started on anything else you have to tackle today. Along the way, I'm going to share practical tips about my approach to homemaking, as well as getting to know me on a much more personal level. I pray it resonates with you and blesses you in your own homemaking journey. Let's get started. I think one misconception that people have about tropical climates like Hawaii, where I live, is that you always enjoy being outside, and simply not the case. Unfortunately, it does get really hot here. I mean, not as much as some Midwest states, but it can be uncomfortable. So I try my best to have some outdoor time as early in the day as possible. So this day we went outside right after breakfast so that my son could play outside in his water table while I tidy up outside. I'm currently just tackling some beach laundry that I had done. We like to keep our beach bag ready to go at all times. So I washed all of our swimsuits, some sheets for our travel playpen, and yeah, just putting that away so that we are ready to go because it is the middle of summer here basically. It's the height of warm weather, so we are taking advantage and trying to get outside as often as possible. If you live in one of those really hot states, let me know what you do in the summertime, because sometimes I feel like if we don't get outside before 10 o'clock, it's just going to be indoor playtime, and that's just not right. I know I really need to prioritize getting some time outside, so I just need some ideas on how to actually spend some outdoor time when it is really warm, because I also want to take my little baby out like today to enjoy a nice breeze and fresh air. My living room does not look very tidy at the moment. As you can see, I'm taking out some diapers that we just stocked up on. Costco was having a sale. We usually don't buy Huggies. I've been purchasing the Kirkland brand for the last 2 years pretty much. But sometimes if there is a sale on the brand named diapers, sometimes I will get those. So this was one of those times. And our diaper caddy needed a serious restock. It was a little bit messy in general, but I keep my younger son's diapers up at the top. That's where we also have our wipe dispenser, our hand sanitizer. Then we have our toddler's diapers in the middle compartment. And then I just use the bottom rack for all of the overflow. So as I mentioned before, my son just turned 2 years old, and I don't have any plans of potty training quite yet. I feel like he is a little young, but I'd love to hear your thoughts when you recommend potty training. Most of you were not around when I was making videos of my pregnancy journey with my firstborn, but there is a nesting video where I was just doing like a heart to heart while restocking this diaper caddy. So it's kind of nostalgic and a full circle moment to see myself 2 years later having two size diapers because I have two babies now. I do still have that video up, and I'm not sure if I want to keep all of my old content up from my pregnancies. It's just not really the type of content that I am making anymore. But let me know your thoughts. Maybe you can check them out and let me know if I should keep them. For me personally, I really like having them even if they're privated so nobody can see them, just for the memories. And that was a big thing for me, is I'm just someone that's very sentimental and wants to capture memories. So I'm not going to delete them forever, but I just don't know if I want them public on my YouTube. But if you are pregnant and interested, I do have quite a bit of videos, primarily from my first pregnancy. So one thing is that I really do not like keeping the cardboard boxes of whatever items that we purchase, because most of the time it takes up so much extra space. So I really try and challenge myself to organize it in a way where we can throw boxes away. Now, I got this crib for my oldest son because it has this extra storage down at the bottom that you are about to see. We are pretty low on space in this house, in this apartment, so it was really important for me to have multifunctional features on some of the items that I was purchasing. And as you can see, I kind of keep miscellaneous stuff. But here's a little hack. If you store your diapers in like outside of the cardboard box, just grab a Sharpie and write down the size on the sides, because especially having two boys that are, one size apart in diapers, at this point I am feeling pretty overwhelmed because I had a lot more leftover diapers that I wasn't able to store away than I anticipated. So I ended up just condensing it into one box, and hopefully I remember that there are two different sizes in there. But I usually store them inside our closet. It's just a mess right now, and honestly, I have just constantly been working at how I can best organize it. I have half the closet filled with all of the boys' items on that left-hand side. But then I also have a clothes between my husband and I on the right hand side of the closet, which, as you can see, it's not a big closet whatsoever. This morning I made a very delicious chorizo, egg, and avocado burrito with a side of pickled jalapeno, one of my absolute favorites, and of course my very own homemade flour tortillas that I made. It is literally so easy. Just pick up a pack of chorizo, cook it, add some onions if you'd like. Then once the meat is cooked, you just add your eggs and you are done. I literally don't need to add anything else. I like it just the way it is. And it is just so easy for a super quick meal. Today I was obviously trying to get a lot of things done around the house, so something quick and convenient and also filling is exactly what I was looking for. So now I'm just starting to pick up all of the random items around our dining area. We had a lot of just things left over from cooking breakfast. Oftentimes I will offer my toddler food and he doesn't want to eat it, so then it just kind of sits there until I find what works. If any of you are familiar with the Minimal Mom on YouTube, she is such a huge help with just helping me maintain and upkeep my home. So part of it is just tackling surface areas, and that's what I try and do. First and foremost it just makes such a big difference when you see clear surface areas. So that is definitely something. If I just need to quickly clean, I focus on the tables and countertops, because most of the time anything that's on the floor are toys, and quite frankly they're just going to end up back on the floor. And of course we are drinking probably cold coffee and just chugging that for that burst of energy. If you saw my thrifting a home video, you would have seen this basket where I keep all of my cleaning towels, and I personally like using microfiber. I know that's kind of a hot controversy with whether you like or hate them. Let me know which side you are on, but I personally really like them. I have a ton so that I can rotate through them. I basically use one a day, and it is just so easy for me to cut it up or fold them into little squares, as you can see right there, so that I'm not reusing the same side, if that makes sense. So I just alternate throughout the day, make sure that I am using clean and not just spreading more dirt and germs. Um, and cleaning the counters is probably one of my favorite things. It is so satisfying. I've been really enjoying this peony. Is that how you say it? Sorry, guys. English is not my first language. But it's a floral cleaning spray from Myers, and I've just been really enjoying it. That is one thing that I do appreciate about myself, is that I will find joy in the simple things, like a good smelling all-purpose spray. It literally brings joy to my heart, and I look forward to using it every single time. It's kind of funny. And as you can see, I am just literally getting all of the dirt onto my floor, because I do plan to sweep, and that's just the way that I grew up watching my mom clean, so that is what I do. There are certain instances where I will grab like a dustpan and, you know, brush all of the random food crumbs onto it so that it doesn't land on my floor, but honestly, I always end up sweeping anyway. So when I know this, I don't really care, and I just want to get my counters clean. So again, I'm trying to be as efficient as possible. I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels this way, but I definitely know that I have become more and more like my mom the older that I get, especially after becoming a wife, mother, homemaker. I just take so much pride in having a clean home, but it definitely comes with having to balance it when you have such young children who are constantly making a mess. As I mentioned earlier in the video, it's about having realistic expectations of what that looks like in your current season of life. I know you're not used to me directly talking to the camera, but trying to switch it up for today's video. So I'll show you what it's looking like for the most part. Right now, the counters are clean, floors have been swept, the table is mostly cleared. I still have dishes that need to be washed, but I need to unload the dishwasher, and I'm not sure that is the best use of my time right now, because the kitchen does look pretty clean, and I really need to work on the pantry. Elias is just watching me and laughing. He's so cute. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna focus on doing that first, and then I can have Ezra help me unload the dishwasher, and I can put those things away. But right now he is sleeping, so yeah, I'm just trying to prioritize the things that are more challenging when he is awake. So that's why I'm just gonna get into pantry organization. We just went to Costco yesterday, so we have a lot of things that we buy in bulk, and it just takes up a lot of space, so it can very easily get cluttered in our small little pantry. It's not a full pantry by any means, but I will show you. Okay. This is just realistic of what it looks like. So here is one part. I kind of have extra things that I don't reach for that often up here. Then we start going into some of the snacks slash, yeah, mostly just snacks. And then, I mean, I still have my quinoa over here. We got some corn tortillas, almonds. I think I keep most of the boxed items up here now that I see a pattern. So that's one part. And this is kind of the messiest part. This is just the reality of where my home is at right now. And do I wish it was more organized? Yes. But I mean, I am a mom of 2 little ones, and we don't have a lot of storage space. I've tried to declutter so many times, and it's just gets like this. I'm gonna work on tidying this up. I don't feel like I'll find a lot of things to throw away, but we will see. In my video, 24 Things I Quit as a Christian Homemaker, I mentioned that I have refrained from purchasing things in bulk from Costco or Sam's Club. And while that still is true, obviously we are still buying bulk items for things that we know that we go through pretty quickly. And I primarily shop at Costco for all of my groceries, but I know that other states have really cool grocery stores. Like my sister raves about H-E-B in Texas. I'd love to know what your favorite grocery store is and any other tips on saving money with your groceries besides buying in bulk. I am very blessed to have a husband who is very aware of the ingredients of the items that we are purchasing. So anytime we shop around, he always looks to see what ingredients there are, any things that we need to omit. He makes really good decisions on, so I really trust his judgment. Even when I send him with a grocery list and he gets extra items, I know that he's being thoughtful, taking into consideration my desires for a, more minimal pantry, even though we clearly still have a lot of stuff. I'm not sure if I mentioned that earlier, but I did do all of my pantry organization while my toddler was napping. His naps can range anywhere from an hour to 3 hours. They're closer to the 1.5 hour to 2 hour mark. So I'm trying to be very intentional with how I spend my time during his naps. My little baby was tired of being in his little activity center, so he wanted to get picked up, which is why he was crying and immediately stopped as soon as I picked him up. My little cuddle bug. My mom is usually getting off work around the same time that Ezra wakes up from his nap, so that's typically when we FaceTime my parents, and that is how Ezra gets the bulk of his Spanish exposure. So I did grow up speaking Spanish. I am Mexican. I completely understand Spanish. I speak Spanish, read and write in Spanish, but I was just never able to really develop my Spanish in an academic sense. I started out first grade in an only Spanish speaking class. And then I believe second and third grade was when I had bilingual classes. So it was a hybrid class between Spanish and English. And then by the time that I was in third grade, I was advanced in English. And obviously by that time, a lot of kids will just stay in English only classes. So I kind of got stuck with just, the casual way that you speak Spanish with your family. I never learned it in a very advanced or academic way. So I am trying to actively advance my Spanish in a sense, or at least just be able to be more fluent so that I don't get as tongue-tied with simple words that I just forget how to say. It honestly makes me so happy whenever I see comments in Spanish and just my other Hispanic sisters that have joined my little community here on YouTube, because it makes me feel a little bit more at home. I do live in Hawaii, where the population of any other Hispanics or Spanish speakers are pretty limited. I do definitely meet them every now and then, and I take every opportunity to practice my Spanish with them. Um, but yeah, it's just sometimes, honestly, if I'm just going to be 100% real, sometimes I get a little bit embarrassed that my Spanish isn't as fluent, but obviously it's completely different when you live in Mexico or any other Spanish speaking country, and that is your day to day. When the reality is that my ability to practice is just so much more limited. So I appreciate you listening to my little heart to heart about that. So now I'm just working on the closet. It has kind of gone out of control. I have added a second rod, as you can see, that separates my toddlers from my babies. And it's quite crazy because my toddler is basically sharing clothes with the baby now. They're 2 years old and 6 months, and they're basically one size apart now. My little baby is a big boy. So that's kind of nice because as I'm leveling up or sizing up my toddler's clothes, I just put his old clothes down below. And yeah, my baby can start wearing them. And if you saw those little boots that my parents brought him from Mexico, and then my sister-in-law got my toddler the little Mexican shoes. They are so cute. I had just been sorting out my toddler shoes because, I mean, honestly, he just wears his Crocs for every and any occasion. It's pretty rare that we actually use closed-toed shoes, but he has received a few pairs from family. Um, so it's just been a while since he's been able to wear them. So I was just setting aside the ones that he has outgrown already. As you saw, I just used a basket to hold his shoes. I literally try and use baskets as many different ways as possible, just because I love baskets. I think they are so cute and aesthetic, and definitely one of my best tips for storage solutions that look nice. My toddler is joining me while my baby naps, and you can see that he is obsessed with baseball at the moment. He carries his bat around literally everywhere. As I mentioned earlier, I am very intentional with any nap time, so while my baby sleeps, it gives me a little bit more opportunity to do something productive, because when they are both awake, that's typically when I'm not able to do anything this focused. But this day, I just made that commitment to organize the closets. But I am just trying to put in this bassinet back into storage because we don't use it very often, but if there are specific scenarios where I know my son needs a nap, I will take that with me and try and squeeze as much use out of it, because he is quickly, well, actually, he's already outgrown it, but I still try and use it. So as I mentioned earlier, the right hand side of the closet has mostly my husband's extra clothing, but some of my stuff is a little bit out of frame towards the middle of the closet there. But we just have that be our extra storage, so we have to be as efficient as possible with our any storage space that we have. And I'm sure we could do more decluttering. It's just difficult because, you know, you have emotional attachment to some of your clothing, and then we still have winter clothes that we, you know, want to keep for when we do travel back to the mainland. I don't want to have to shop every single time. So, yeah, that's kind of how we have divided our extra storage space here in the nursery. And I'm just trying to put things back as, you know, orderly as possible. I did end up deciding to get rid of that hamper. We'll see if I end up bringing it back, but I'm gonna try and possibly just mix their clothing with ours when I wash it, because I have found that sometimes it's a little overwhelming when I do all of the boys' clothes, because a lot of the time when I have spare time to put their clothes away when I'm doing their laundry, it's actually when one of them is napping, so then I can't go put them away. And then if they are awake and I put away their clothes, my toddler tends to just mess with the pile of clothes and throws them everywhere. So it's just a little difficult. So I'm going to try and just have one big family hamper and see how that goes. But now I am just sorting through all of their clothes and getting rid of stuff that, or not getting rid of, but just removing any clothes that are no longer fitting them. So as I mentioned earlier, I moved my toddler's clothing below to my son's rod, and then my son still had some 6 to 9 clothing that no longer fits him, and even some 12 months clothing doesn't fit. So just putting that away for storage to deal with later. I have really loved having the second rod to keep their clothes apart and keep them as organized as possible. If you are interested in seeing some videos that talk about storage solutions for small spaces, especially with kids, I can definitely add that to my list of videos to make in the future, because honestly that has been one of my biggest struggles living in a 2-bedroom apartment. And I know some people might think that that's enough space for a family of 4, but it's a little bit difficult because my husband does work from home. So part of our situation is just allocating extra storage space for work stuff and desks and equipment and all of those things. And that was actually even worse before I quit my job, because I also worked from home. So as you can imagine, we had two separate desk spaces and offices. So our home has definitely gone through a few series of just big changes. As you know, first it was just my husband working from home, then both of us were working from home, then having our first baby, then having our second baby. So it's just been a whole lot, and we've just had to adapt. And as I've talked about it before, of being content with where we're at, I truly, truly love our apartment. It's the first apartment that we've had together since we got married. And we love our neighbors. We love our neighborhood. It's close by to a lot of our favorite shopping centers and freeway entrances. So I don't want to complain, because there are definitely a lot of things that I love about where we live. But we've just had to be very creative with storage and how many items that we are realistically able to keep. So I've definitely had a few creative ways that I've been able to maximize our storage space. So I would be so excited to share that. So just let me know in the comments if that's something that you are dealing with. And yeah, maybe I can make a video on it and help you out. So let me know any specific problems that you have with storage, and maybe I can also just answer that down below, what I would be doing, or maybe even how I addressed it in my own home. So at this point, I'm starting to hit a slump and need a boost of energy, and I am so excited that we found this new product at Costco. If you are familiar with liquid IVs, they are just hydration electrolyte packs. But we recently saw one that actually has caffeine in it. So that perfectly hits the two things that I need, is electrolytes and caffeine. And it's really cool because we've had these little mixers. They're like mini blenders, but it's really just for mixing powder. And it's perfect for things like this where the powder might settle at the bottom. You can just hit the little button and it shakes it up for you, so that you're not drinking beverages that are not mixed. So I will have that link down below so that you can purchase one if that's something that you need. We used to use it for our protein powder mixes that when we were going to the gym. That's what we initially bought them for. And now I just use it for my little electrolyte packets. So they're super convenient. And the flavor is really, really good. So anything that I talk about, I'll try and find links for you to just look up and see if it's something that you might want to check out. I always look on Amazon for reviews, honestly. So even if they sell it at Target or Walmart, somewhere local, I will oftentimes just look them up on Walmart or on Amazon so that I can just learn what other people are saying about the product and make sure that I want to purchase it. So that's one of my little hacks, is just look up everything on Amazon because you will probably get the most accurate reviews there. Okay, so I have moved on to cleaning the living room. As you can see, there's just stuff scattered everywhere. I had the old diaper boxes that I had just unstocked, unloaded into the nursery, and had to move that outside for my husband to throw away. I'm just trying to clear the living room as much for a quick tidy. And I'm pretty sure my toddler was just running around playing baseball. You'll see him, yep, grab his little baseball hat. He is obsessed with baseball right now. He just grabbed his little bat. But yeah, I needed to desperately sort and put away some baby clothes that I have accumulated. It has been sitting in my son's closet for way too long, and I just needed to make room for decluttering or putting away some of their toys for a better toy rotation. So it was priority for me to get that done. And it is so hard to declutter baby clothes because I have so much emotional attachment to them. So if you have any tips on how to minimize what you keep for the next baby, because I definitely want to have more children, and something tells me that I will just have at least another boy. I think I'm going to be a boy mom until I have my girl as maybe our last baby. I do want to have a big family. I feel like every time that I have a baby, which I only have two, I just have more and more desire for a bigger family. I loved pregnancy. Even though it's hard, it really, really was harder the second time around. But I just love being a mom. I love just everything about them. I look at my little 6 month old and I'm just in awe of how beautiful he is. And I just tell myself, this cannot be my last baby. So that's part of why I hold on to so many baby items, because I know I want to have more. I will be showing you a little bit of my nighttime routine before I officially go to bed. But if you enjoyed this style of video where you just go around my home with me and have me talk through what I am doing, please leave a little flower emoji and let me know that I should make this style video again. Your engagement with me in the comments not only encourages me to continue making Christian content, but it also helps other women looking for fellowship and biblical content find this video, and hopefully it blesses them too. I'd love to continue sharing my journey as a homemaker with you. If you're looking for more encouragement and inspiration for your homemaking, be sure to check out my other videos on homemaking, just like this. I had been procrastinating doing this task for literally weeks, and it took all the energy to finish it and do this. So this was actually the last thing that I recorded before I did my little nighttime closing shop in the kitchen that you will see shortly. I just want to remind everyone to have grace with yourself and not expect that you can do everything in a single day, especially a home reset. I actually still had footage from the days after this, but I'm choosing to only show you what I actually did in a single day. I literally did nothing else the rest of the evening because I had already cooked dinner. I made a huge batch of caldo de res, and if you didn't see that in my community tab, you can see a delicious picture of it, if I do say so myself. As you can hear, I have my little baby here with me making some cute baby noises. But now this is just my last things that I do in the kitchen before I officially get off to bed. I make sure that I have water because I am a breastfeeding mama and I need to stay hydrated. Sometimes I am really, really thirsty, and there's nothing worse than looking over and not having any more water in your water bottle. So I am also taking some, I think this is like skin and nail something like multivitamin for women because I have some severe postpartum hair loss, and my husband was sweet enough to encourage me to get a multivitamin. And also just putting away any last minute things I have left out. Sometimes we snack on something after I finish cleaning the kitchen, so just putting everything else away. As you can see, the living room is not very tidy whatsoever, but you can't have it all, and I chose to leave it be and just go and get some rest. So I hope that you found this video encouraging and relatable, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.